Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to introduce you to the press conference for Almost Famous, which is having its world premiere as a gala at this year's 25th anniversary Toronto International Film Festival. We're delighted to be able to introduce so many talented and wonderful human beings involved in the film. I'll introduce them starting at the far end of the table with Philip Seymour Hoffman, who plays the role of rock critic Lester Bangs. Next to him, he's back to Toronto for a second time. He was here with the film Mumford. Jason Lee, who plays the role of the lead singer Jeff in the group Stillwater. Patrick Fugit plays William. In the middle, it's a great honor to introduce Academy Award winner Frances McDormand, who plays the mother in the film. The film's director did much more than that. Cameron Crowe also wrote the film and produced it. Next to him, I'm going to get his name right this time since he's back for a second time, Billy Crudup, who plays the role of guitarist Russell Hammond. And finally, next to me, in the role of Penny Lane, Miss Kate Hudson. I'm sure we have a lot of questions. Who would like to kick the conference off? Don't be shy. Can we get the mic over? It's going to be, you'll have to be patient. It's going to be hard to wade through this crowd. Maybe I could ask you if you have questions and let me know ahead of time so we can get the mic to you.
Hi, this is for Cameron Crowe. When you're casting yourself as a boy genius, what are you looking for? What's that like?
Well, I wanted to find someone that captured the way it felt back then, to be a fan and to be wide open, and to just be so happy to be at the circus and slightly afraid that you might get thrown out at any given point. And I felt that in Patrick's eyes, really, was the feeling that I remembered so clearly. And the hairdo.
Patrick, what do you feel about playing that role? What was Cameron's involvement telling you how he was or how you should be?
Actually, Cameron was really easygoing about me making him look kind of dorky. He didn't want me to play Cameron Crowe, 15 years old. He wanted me to play William Miller, and he really emphasized that. So we basically came up with our own character and added a little bit of Cameron in it.
Thank you. There's a question over here. Whoever has the mic, if you stand up. Yes, please, sir.
Cameron, I've heard that the movie you delivered was somewhat longer than the movie we'll see. What got cut? What do you miss the most? And how do you feel about the way DreamWorks has handled your film?
Well, DreamWorks supported this movie in a great way very early on. It was a 172-page script, so we all knew we were on a journey to try and capture a time and a place and a humor and basically a love of music. And the movie I delivered is the one that you'll see. And it's the best version that expresses what it is. We went through very, very many longer versions. There's a longer version that'll be on the DVD that is more for collectors and also for a way to showcase some of the great moments that these incredible actors nailed so well along the way. But at this length, it played like the album that I wanted it to play like. And so we did a couple test screenings and took it at various places around the country and found that at this length, it got everything across. And it took you away to a different world. And that was one of our goals.
How do you really miss that?
Oh, you know, there's a wonderful sequence where Patrick plays the entire Stairway to Heaven to Frances to try and convince her to let him go on the road. So that's going to be on the DVD. You at home add your copy of Stairway to Heaven, and there's a countdown for you to put it on, and then the scene happens. But there are a lot of beautiful little detours that we took making the movie, most of which will be on the DVD.
Yes, question here.
Yeah, the character Kate Hudson plays is obviously a kind of fantasy figure for the boy. I wondered what qualities you were looking for, why you cast her.
Well, Kate has a very kind of timeless quality that reminded me so much of the girls that I met back then, that really did believe they were there for the music. And if you said that now, I think backstage at a show, people would laugh. But back then, you took it for granted that these people were there out of a pure love of these records. And Kate sort of has this quality where joy is so present in her face, and so's pain, and so's laughter and tears, and sometimes all in the same, sentence. And it reminded me so much of some of the women that I knew. So it's a musical performance that she gives. And I feel very lucky that we have her in the movie.
Kate, do you want to tell us what sort of directions or what Cameron was telling you about your character?
Well, Cameron, he was really, I think the greatest thing is we had about 4 weeks, 6 weeks rehearsal, and so I really got a chance to understand the essence of who Penny Lane was, and with the help of Cameron, of course, and it was great. I mean, he's the most genuine, honest man, and it shows in his work, and it's a blast.
We would have exercises like, I would say, Kate, listen to this song, People's Party. People's Parties by Joni Mitchell, and just have it in your head and float around the room and make everybody feel great and be selfless about it. And she would do that. And so much of the time we would use music making the movie to create a mood. There's a Bruce Springsteen song called The Promise that Billy and I sort of found along the way that helped us collaborate and find the character. And I'd sneak it on him in the middle of takes, and the poor guy would just be in the middle of talking, and he'd hear Bruce Springsteen start to play, and he'd be like, okay, we're going to that place now. But music guided us the whole way. And even Frances, I gotta say, is a big rock fan. So she probably had to travel the greatest distance acting like she really didn't love Black Sabbath when she does. And Patrick now is a big Zeppelin fan. Jason is a musician. And Phil is a huge music fan. So we all kind of came together to try and express what we love about music. And generally, they got the part or lived the part through these songs that we would play throughout the movie, the filming, too.
Cameron, I understand that your film is autobiographical. I'd like to know exactly how much of it is autobiographical, and I really would like to know if your mother is actually Frances McDormand.
Oh, no, I'm too young to be his mother.
It all happened. It all happened in slightly different order, and sometimes in exactly the way it's portrayed, which probably made it a little tough on these amazing actors, because they knew they not only had to please me, but please a memory, I think, which probably was a very tough thing. But it all happened, and it wasn't a kind of a spoof or a parody. It's sort of a tribute to the people that we knew back then.
Every time I see Cameron's mother, she says, "Stop smoking."
Yes. She still thinks I'm going to go to law school. And she loves Frances's portrayal. I mean, they really had a wonderful relationship. I think Frances calmed my mom down. My mom was on the set a little too much. And Frances really calmed her down, because she said, "Alice, it's not going to be you, and it's not going to be me. It's going to be someone else." And that is what it is. It's a character created by Frances.
Yes, I'm wondering, you obviously all spent a lot of time and energy getting very absorbed into the rock and roll world of the 70s. Was it difficult reintegrating into present-day society after shooting was over?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I actually, honestly, I got a little depressed. I mean, we spent 6 months on this movie, and it was, to me, like a family. And when I left, I got a little depressed, and then obviously you move on. But it was such a blast. Cameron set such a great vibe on set. It really helped, I think, all of us. That scene on the bus is a perfect example. We're all just very comfortable with each other as human beings, as well as our characters. So.
Billy's still playing guitar. It must be said.
Trying.
Hey.
It was harder for me during it because I wasn't a part of the rock and roll world, and it was really hard to stay out of it. But I got to go to band practice. I mean, I called it band practice. You guys called it rock school. I'm sorry. It was band practice, and it was great because Cameron, you know, even those of us that weren't on the road got to tap into the rock part of it, which was great because that's what it's about.
Anyone else? Philip, I'm going to ask a question to Philip, actually. I'd like to know the criticism, your leeriness of film industry can't only be, or can be applied as well to other forms of show business. I wonder if you want to talk about that.
My criticism of the film industry?
No, of the music industry, or...
It's a pain in the ass. No. What are the criticism? What's the question?
I'm trying to be delicate and subtle. What I'm saying is you're very critical of the rock and roll industry, of the music
Yes.
industry.
In the film.
You might also have feelings about the show business in general, or the movie business more particularly.
Yeah.
Do you want to share them with us?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with the. I think I kind of got the part that way, if I recall. I was talking to Cameron, and I was on a rant, and he heard the rant and went, "I think that's right," and I got the part. I think that's kind of how it happened. I know it sounds crude, but I actually I've never asked Cameron directly about that, but I think that I did. I came into his office, and I was on. When I was I live in New York, and I was in LA, and I was having one of those, oh my God, I just saw something that I only see in LA, but now you see it in New York too. And it was somebody that I admired on a American Express ad. And I couldn't believe that this person was on American Express ad. It's just freaking me out. And so I kept talking about it. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Why? And I think it had a lot to do with Lester Bangs. You know, I think all of us have a lot of Lester Bangs in us. I think Lester Bangs just wasn't afraid to let it be a big part of his personality. You know, I think a lot of us edit ourselves because we want to keep our jobs and want to keep our way of lives. And I think he decided to go the other way, and I was honored to play the part because of that quality in him, because I sure don't have it the way he does, you know.
There's a question of the gentleman in the orange.
I was wondering if we could go down the row and talk about your influences or your favorite music of that era, the favorite bands or songs that you've discovered either through the movie or knew about before.
Go first.
Such an intimate question.
Yeah, it's like.
So much.
Go, Jason.
How old were you in this 1973?
I was 3. The coolest part of it was that I rediscovered Led Zeppelin and ended up loving them more than I did when I heard them as a child. And I listen to them quite a bit now, and they are my friends.
Okay. Before the movie, I didn't listen to music at all. I'm sorry, but I think I had like a Chumbawamba CD that I got for Christmas. I didn't even want it, but and I thought Led Zeppelin was one person, and I wore Grateful Dead shirts because they had skeletons on them. But that was the extent of my musical interest. And then we get into rehearsals, and Cameron says, "Do you listen to rock?" I say no. He says, "Well, we forgive you." And he hands me this huge collection of CDs. I mean, almost anything you can name. And he said, you know, this is rock. Enjoy it. And he didn't have to force me into it. He didn't have to give me homework. I think he had confidence that it'd sink in, and it's all I listen to now. It's classic rock.
I listened to Harry Chapin in 1973. Harry Chapin, Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez, But I'm a really big Zeppelin fan and Black Sabbath, especially Iron Man. And I think that's the part of the movie I really love. When they start playing Fever Dog at the concert, I'm out of my seat. I love it.
Did you have to stop listening to the music or listen to different music to put yourself in the role?
Did I?
Yes.
No, in fact, it's interesting because like Cameron was saying, he played different music at different points to just kind of to shake it up, or actually music I think that you knew you were going to have on the soundtrack already that was going to be under scenes. And unfortunately, all the things he chose for Elaine was really off the mark. Peggy Lee and, you know, or it never really did it for me. The Iron Man did it for me. That was good.
Yeah. I'm beginning to realize how oppressive I was, forcing these people to listen to music from the 70s. But I mean, it was fun. We would do a scene on stage at the San Diego Sports Arena, and the guys at Stillwater would be there getting ready to do a scene. I'd be like, "The Who performed on this stage." They'd be like, "Okay, let us just do the scene, okay?" But I always loved the Who. I thought the Who were great, and I tend to put the Who in everything I write, and you know, they'll probably be in the next thing too. I just think they had a great rebellious spirit, even though their music turns up in a lot of car ads lately, which is a little bit what the movie is about, the era before that. But I just had fun kind of making mixtapes and collections to you know, kind of tailored to each one of our actors here.
Betty, what about you?
Yeah, I've gone through too many phases in music to recount. What I'm listening to now, it was greatly influenced by working on this movie, Zeppelin. I've listened to almost exclusively for about 6 or 7 months. Springsteen was a big influence, as Cameron said, on this part for me. Who else? Beatles. What do I listen to now? Stones.
Bob.
Yeah, and stuff. I was really into Motown when I was in high school. So Marvin Gaye is a big influence. I saw him in concert my freshman year in high school. I liked the Isley Brothers and Aretha Franklin. But I'm mostly listening to Led Zeppelin now.
Kate, what about you?
My first album, actually, my dad was a big Beatles guy and ZZ Top, which is kind of weird, but so that was sort of my first introduction to rock. And then I got, what? I know, me too. It was great. And for this movie, I sort of leaned towards classic rock my whole life, but when I got the part in this movie, Cameron sent over about 25 CDs, and I really got into it, and it was great. I'm a big Joni Mitchell fan, huge Bob fan. Actually, for me, there's one song that every time I hear it, I think of Penny Lane, and that's Visions of Joanna, which Cameron gave to me on a tape, and I listened to it pretty much every day before I went out or started work. And of course, River, which was a big one for Cameron and I. He liked to play that to make me very emotional, and big, huge Zeppelin fan, and I love Humble Pie and Free, and.
Thank you. Yes, the gentleman sitting down, and yes.
For Cameron, Kate earlier mentioned that you kind of become like family when you made the movie, and to me, maybe some of the themes of your movies have been about people seeking family or community of some sort. And I'm just wondering why that is, and whether it's just so common to art and literature that's sort of eternal, or is it think something to do with the times?
Well, it's true. I kind of like to write about disconnected families that find some way to belong together. And so much of groupies, bands, even William Miller in the movie is about, where's my family? Where do I belong? Music, for me, gave me that feeling that there were people out there that felt like I did. So my family in a lot of ways, felt most real when I would listen to records by The Who or Todd Rundgren, where I felt, well, there's nobody like this in my school, but there's somebody like that out there. And I just love that feeling of people who don't have it easy, who find a way to belong together. And it's like that way on a movie set, and it was like that kind of putting everybody together on this one. It's an eternal story, and how you tell it differently is, you know, how, you know, acute your sense of awareness is.
Is that what all the band members and the groupies are trying to recreate when they're...
Oh yeah, we had an amazing cinematographer, John Toll, on this movie, and one of the things that I told John was, let's have the camera be like a guy who's just on Patrick's shoulder saying, come here, come this way, let me show you this. And there's a feeling throughout the movie, hopefully, of somebody guiding William along into these different families, all of whom are going to break up at the end of the movie. And so hopefully we captured a little bit of that, and thanks for noticing.
Can I ask real quick, in case nobody else does, who was the real band?
The real band was a combination of bands. It's a lot Lynyrd Skynyrd, it's a lot the Eagles, it's somewhat Led Zeppelin, and it's quite a bit the Allman Brothers Band, because the Allman Brothers Band was the first band that really took me on the road, and I did not want to go home. My mom says I never did come home. But that was the feeling that I had, and it's Stillwater is a lot the Allman Brothers Band. And I'm still, all the time when I see the movie, I remember where the little pieces came from. It was Glenn Frey from the Eagles that said to me, come here, look, I know a lot of people are telling you a lot of stuff, just make us look cool. And I love the way Billy captures that in the movie, and the way, you know, Patrick's character kind of feels torn because he sort of belongs, but he knows he can't belong because of what Lester's told him. But he wants to serve Billy's character, and he wants to make him look cool because he feels cool just standing there. And hopefully that messiness is all mixed up in the story of our movie.
Hi, I have two questions. First for Cameron, do you ever feel cool now?
No.
Questions for Kate. I'm wondering if you're ready for what's going to happen to you now. I mean, this is a real, what they call a star-making performance, and I know obviously you have it in your family. You've seen examples of it, but is there anything that you're doing to ready yourself for what's going to happen?
I don't look at my life like that. You know, I really don't. It's exciting. I'm just so honored to be in his film. You know, that's how I look at it, and I just want to do this for a long time and do the best work I can do. You know, and if that happens, or if it doesn't, then, you know, hopefully I'll still get jobs. So.
In preparation for this film, excuse me, sir, we need the microphone.
Sorry, in preparation for this one, this is for Cameron. Did you get back in touch with any of these people that you once knew, just to go over old memories? And
I did. I found that the people that were so vivid to me barely remembered me a lot of the time. I talked to a guy from the New Yorker recently who was trying to track down some of the people that I wrote about, and he said, you know, they're all very fuzzy. It's all very fuzzy. And it's funny what happened, but it was great to have Peter Frampton around, because Peter does remember. And it's very hard to get carried away with the lofty intentions of what we want to capture in the movie when you have Peter there changing Billy Crudup's guitar strings, you know, because he is the same guy at any stage in his career, as I've written about him over the years, and Frampton has been the same guy, and he shows everybody, I think he showed all of us what it's like to make a full-time, lifelong commitment to music, and it kept everyone grounded, and he does remember.
In the gray standing up, did you had a question for Philip? I don't know if you still want to ask it. No, we'll move to, yes, sir, go ahead.
This is for Billy and Jason. What was involved in learning your performance style as rock musicians? I think this was sort of the rock school that Francis mentioned. And who, if anyone, did you pattern your performance styles after?
Well, I think more than anything, we wanted to create a band that was unique and authentic at the same time. Pop culture has sort of portrayed musicians in a very similar way. The most obvious example being Spinal Tap. And because I'm somewhat dim, that was my instinct as well. And Cameron insisted upon us finding, over a period of time, our own way of performing that was unique and specific to us, with help, with guidance, because it was abbreviated and we were doing in 5 weeks what people do in 5 years. But it was focused on us developing our own style based upon who these people were, who the characters were that we were creating at the same time. So we had to learn how to interact comfortably on stage. We had to, you know, performing can be sort of a vain activity, performing live. You are always wondering who's looking at you. Are you getting the attention? And are you also at the same time making the music you want to make? So there's lots of things you have to have your attention on that you need to kind of learn about while you're also learning the music. But I would say primarily we stuck to just developing our own individual style with references. You know, we had Free, Allman Brothers Band, we looked at endless tapes, Bad Company, Zeppelin, Nancy Wilson was up on stage with us, you know, inspiring us as I stood coyly with the guitar by the amplifier. So, and you know, Peter was a constant presence. And really it's pretty easy to take the step to finding your own sense of performing when you see Peter or Nancy get up there and play. Not sort of teach you, but just get up there and play. They're instantly inspired by the music. Their bodies do whatever they do. Their faces do whatever they do. It's unique. It's personal. Soulful. Yeah, it's soulful, and it's about what they're playing, how that energizes them. So, Jason Lee.
Oh. At first, I didn't know what I was going to do, which is the honest truth. I didn't know how to move. I didn't know if I was supposed to move a certain way. I thought a little too much about what I was supposed to do to look like the lead singer of a rock and roll band in 1973. So I was very, very nervous. I didn't want to get caught, so to speak. I didn't want to look like I was trying. I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was doing. And Cameron showed me footage of Paul Rogers, of Free performing. I think it was the Isle of Wight Festival. And I liked Paul Rogers because it was simple. He wasn't too big. He wasn't too over the top. And he didn't have to be, because he was just getting into the music. You know, if you're really getting into the music, then what happens, happens. So I took a few things from him because I liked the simplicity of the way he was on stage. And slowly started finding my place. And soon enough, I realized that I had stopped thinking about it. I liked the music that Nancy and Peter Frampton wrote, and so that was easy. And it was all about confidence. I went from being not confident at all to being very, very confident. I let the music just kind of do its thing. We did have to choreograph a few moves. I mean, we took some things that we liked, and I would do them in different takes, you know, different camera setups, and I would repeat them because they looked cool. Right? But I found myself liking the music and letting it do its thing and not having to think about it anymore. And that's when I realized that's what it was like for these guys. It's about the music and the adrenaline that you get. And when we shot these scenes, it was so real that I was on the rock and roll boat, man. I was just letting it take me along. And it's true. When we shot at the Hollywood Palladium, Cleveland, there were, what, 2,000 extras there. And the great Noah Taylor with his loud voice screaming over the microphone, "Good evening, Cleveland, please welcome Stillwater." And we're backstage, and the lights are dark, and we walk out onto the stage, and 2,000 extras are screaming. And it felt very real, and I was like, I'm going to rock these mother... Right? So, are you allowed to curse in Canada? So yeah, I fed off of that energy that I got from these extras, all 2,000 of them, and I had long forgotten at that point about what I was supposed to be doing, and frankly, I rocked.
No, you only have a few snippets, obviously, of the songs in the film. Will the full versions of the songs be on the DVD? And also, will there be videos where we could see Stillwater?
We have the ability to do videos in the grand, pre-MTV tradition, which means mostly performance, live stuff. But yeah, on the DVD, the whole Stillwater concert, the magnificent 6-song sweep of their show will be there. We have Tongue and Bung in there. We have their pre-show thing. But yeah, we have the whole. Do you have the acoustic
version of Fever Dog?
We have the acoustic Fever Dog.
Right.
As you can see, we're prepared for more Stillwater.
Didn't we have like another version, Jason? Didn't you throw in another version of Fever Dog? Wasn't it like the
reggae Fever
No,
Dog
it was with Ray. Do you remember? It was like Fever Dog.
We did like the avant-garde German version of Fever Dog.
Question for Cameron. You talked about this in the film, the decline of rock and roll and what music meant to people then. How do you think things differ now? Does music mean the same for people nowadays as it did before?
I think it does. I think as long as you can be alone in a room with music, you can feel that deep connection. I mean, you see it in people driving in cars all the time, just singing along alone, and they look over and see you, and they immediately stop because it's so embarrassing how deeply they're getting into it. The one thing I wanted to catch in the movie, though, was that rock is much more of a television sport now. I mean, I remember going to concerts back then and seeing these guys, Jimmy Page, they were dimly lit, there was no video monitor, and I just thought, these guys are 40 feet tall. They'll never be that big,
Nowadays, motivated more by money.
They're manufactured.
Well,
yeah, I'm sorry.
with the type of music we have now, like Britney Spears and all kinds of stuff.
Well, there's just a lot more money involved, I think, and so it becomes more of a sport, really. It becomes a spectacle. And thank goodness there's always clubs, and there's always a great band you can go see and just share it with a few people, and that's great. And then there's also the spectacle. My little niece probably connects to Britney Spears like I connected to the Who, So you just gotta hail that at the same time you're saying, remember how it used to be. Because you never want to be old Gramps talking about Led Zeppelin.
Yes, please.
Hi, Daphne Gordon from The Star. This question's for Cameron. It's sort of a theme of your movies that shows up, that music has the power to make people feel like not so alone for a moment. So I'm wondering, what are you doing making movies instead of being a musician?
Boy, I can't carry a tune. I can barely play guitar. But I write the movies so I can use the music and get in that dark room with the film and do it. And hopefully, I mean, somebody said, I saw your movie and you directed that like a musician. And it was a musician that told me that. And it was a compliment that I'll never forget, because that was sort of the goal, particularly on this one. And it's just the door I walk in through, I just love music so much. Thanks.
Yes, the lady in the middle, but just wait for the mic, please, excuse me.
is a question for Patrick. I'd like to know how old you are really. And of course, it's a little bit puzzling to me that being so young, you have no connection with music, especially when music is so important for young people. Now, I wonder if it is because it is harder and harder, at least for me, nowadays to find the poetry and the connection that I can relate to in my own young times, and whether the movie has left you the connection to music, and if so, would it be the music of the 70s or contemporary music?
It'll definitely be music of the 70s, classic rock, and I think everybody can agree that you just seem to connect with it more and enjoy it more, and it feels more real, and you can relate to it more so than you could to Oops, I Did It Again. There's I mean, you know, for every generation there's music that they can relate to, but I don't think our generation really knows about 70s rock for the most part. I'm 17 now. I was 16 when we made the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other questions? Yes. Well, the gentleman in front of you. Let's go to the gentleman in gray, please. He hasn't asked a question yet.
Cameron, can you talk a bit about why you chose the music you did to put into the movie, and specifically what feelings come to your mind when you hear Tiny Dancer?
Tiny Dancer just reminded me of the time, and I always knew it was going to be a part of the script, and I'd watch TV and I would see like an Elton John song get used, or I'd see Ice Storm and I'd hear Leave On get used, and I'd always feel like, stay away from Tiny Dancer. I really want to do something with Tiny Dancer. And similarly, there were a few other songs that I just wanted the movie to live up to, really, like the Led Zeppelin song, That's the Way. These are all songs that I would have on tapes and listen to in my car and think about the scenes and think about how we might do it. And in the same way, in Jerry Maguire, Magic Bus was kind of by The Who was what that movie was supposed to feel like. I wanted this movie to have a moment where everybody bonded, embarrassingly, over music. And I thought Tiny Dancer would be a great song to be singing to, but not want to look too much to your right or left to see if they're watching you sing so loudly to it. And I really wanted to use that song, so I'm glad we got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to know if anybody wants to answer this, if anybody has a feeling about, have there been any really great rock movies, not necessarily documentary, but movies about rock and roll?
You mean like a fictional?
Or anything, really,
movie?
I guess. I mean, we know about Woodstock and some like
Yeah.
Stop Making Sense and stuff
Great.
like that. Have
Documentary.
there ever been any good movies about the rock and roll life?
The Rose? Non-documentary?
Hey, any kind, if you can something comes to mind.
The Rose had some good stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Generally, it's documentaries, though. It's wild.
Oh, you didn't like A Star Is Born, Cameron? I didn't do it for you.
The fantasy sequences of the song remains the same. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But no, it's hard. It's hard to come up with them. It's hard to come up with them. Usually they end up being jokey, or let's laugh at the crazy rock stars.
That's a very good angle.
Yeah.
This could be the first one.
Madame, you have a question?
I, as a mother, I wanted to thank you for writing a smart, funny mother. And I wanted to ask Frances how important that was to you as a mother to be able to play somebody who's a whole person.
Yeah, well, you know, being one, generally the last thing I want to do when I go to work is be a mother, because I'm one all day, and I'd much rather be a psycho killer or something else. So if being 42, however, that's going to be a big part of my choices right now as wife, mother, aunt, wife, mother, aunt, you know. So in the range of mothers, it was really an extraordinary possibility that came along, because she's not just a mother. She's not even just a woman. She is a person that quotes Goethe. So I haven't had any other job in a movie that gave me that opportunity. So, and also the way that the Cameron wrote the script and is with Elaine anyway. She has these monologues. She actually has scenes where there's continuous dialogue and conversation that happens, which was great. That was a really great part of it. So, for a lot of different reasons, because she was a really interesting mother, but also just a really fascinating character. It was great.
Questions? Then this gentleman here, if you could pass the mic. Thank you.
A couple questions for Cameron. First of all, did your mother really want to celebrate Christmas at a different time of year?
Still.
I have a business question. You know, movies about the 70s aren't always real popular with the kids today. I wondered if there were ever any conversations about that with anybody, you know, about whether it would appeal to the younger audience today.
It's a good question, and I start to feel grateful when I realize how little that subject came up in making the movie and in getting the money to make the movie. I wrote a very long script. DreamWorks read it. Their first reaction was shoot every word, and your script, get your script on screen, which is the first time that ever happened to me. And it allowed me to cast it with the people that would bring the story to life. And the people, obviously, we're all here now. I mean, the people that cared enough to do it, and not just as a job, you know. But hopefully it's about characters, and people, we'll see, you know, hopefully people, you know, appreciate a movie that's about characters that just happens to be set in the 70s. I like that it has a little bit of a timeless quality, so that we remind you from time to time that we're in the 70s, but you're not bombarding people with kitsch all the time.
Cameron, we've talked a little bit about the autobiographical elements of the film. What about your sister?
My sister saw the movie just the other day, and we watched it alone together in a small screening room. And she loved when the movie made fun of my mom. She got a big kick out of it, slapped my leg a lot and said, yes, yes, she said that, she said that. And in the end, she said something really amazing to me, which was, I didn't realize we were that funny, and thanks for letting me laugh about all that stuff, which was wonderful. And just to be quite honest, I think one of the things I wanted to accomplish with the movie was to create a little bit of a bridge between my mother and sister, and you know that bridge is almost built at this point, because they were able to laugh a little bit at themselves and hug awkwardly, hopefully. It's wild that current runs through the whole thing, that there are real people involved. And Lester Bang's voice was kind of thundering in my head a lot of the time, and just so grateful that Phil cared so much about capturing Lester, because he's the soul and the voice of the future in the movie, and again, a very real character.
We have time for one last question. Yes, sir.
Since the Billy Wilder book, how much of his work has been influenced on this film and your work in general?
There's one scene that's sort of a mini tribute to Billy, besides the fact that Foreign Affair is playing on the bus, which I never really saw in 1973. Snuck that in there. It's a tribute to Billy. But it's the scene where Kate says, "How old are you?" And it's the conversation between Patrick and Kate about age. That, to me, is a little bit of a tip of the hat to Billy. Hopefully, that had a little bit of that Billy Wilder rhythm. And he saw the movie recently, too, and he laughed. He laughed a lot at that point. And he also really laughed when Kate said, "What kind of beer?" And he was just very intrigued about the whole thing. And asked me a lot about Billy Crudup. He's terrific, wonderful.
He liked the name.
But it was a wonderful opportunity to go to a mini film school with Billy Wilder, and I'm sure that his influence will remain. I hope it does.
We've talked a lot about the DVD, but first, has the release date been set for the film?
Release date? For the DVD?
No,
Oh,
for the film.
Yeah, I think it sort of gets released throughout September.
We'll look forward to seeing it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.